Ms. Jessica Tan.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the motion. The crux of President Halima's speech is about how we move forward together to build our future Singapore. And as I thought about the future of Singapore, I asked myself, what does Singapore mean for each of us? Although not representative, I did take a quick poll among several young people, asking them to write in their own words what Singapore means for them. Initially, there was some reluctance to pen their thoughts, but they did. While each expressed it differently, interestingly, there were common themes and phrases used to describe how they felt. Home, safe and secure, provided me education and opportunity, stability, place I want to return to. These were the phrases that they used. I also asked them, what is the future that they wish for? Many hoped that Singapore can adapt to the fast-changing world and continue to stay secure, progress and grow, to have opportunities and allow aspirations to be fulfilled. There was also a call for an inclusive, united and compassionate society with more human touch. So as I studied how they felt, I realized that the answers reflected our shared experiences and identity. Shared experiences of growing up in a society based on what President Halima in her speech called, and I quote, our foundational values of multiracialism, meritocracy, incorruptibility, self-reliance, inclusiveness, and openness to the world, unquote. So as I thought about Singapore's identity and what is it that makes Singapore stand out, I struggled, and I really struggled to describe it. I see it every day, I can feel it, but it's hard to describe. Let me attempt to do so anyway. I believe that it's a combination of many factors. It's the skills and capability and conviction of our people, based on shared experiences that are unique to Singapore, based on our values, whether it is our multiracial experience, our educational system, our heritage, and our networks of relationships, at the personal, business, and community level. But what is most important, it's the harnessing of the power of our people. The harnessing of the power of our people and our shared values and the experiences and our networks and relationships that has made Singapore what it is today. And we should build on this. We should foster this. But what is this? It's our Singapore brand and identity. The Singapore passport has recently been recognized as the most powerful passport in the world, as it gets us through, I believe it's 180 countries without the need of a visa. But what's behind it? What is it that has made it possible? And it's really trust. How did this trust come about? And it's built over the years from our track record of making things happen, our reliability, our trustworthiness, and to some extent, although I did hear in this house, some of us did ask for our kiasuism to be taken away. I think it's also part of our kiasuism, and also as being a country that tries to make it easy for things to happen. And for businesses, for example, making it easy for businesses to set up. It's all of this coming together that defines the Singapore and the Singaporeans we are. But as we look to our future, President Halima also stressed that we cannot assume that Singapore will always continue to be successful. There are shifts and developments that we must understand and deal with, and this will need new and bold approaches. The pace and scale of change that we are witnessing across industries are driven by the momentum in Asia with the economic shift, the technological shift, or what many have termed the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and for Singapore, our demographic shift with an aging population. So the question is, are we prepared for this new economy? Do we have what it takes? How do we stay relevant and be able to compete with other cities and countries as they develop and they get better? In my speech at the first session of this Parliament, I had spoken about jobs. I had said that to enable Singaporeans, no matter where their starting point, to continue to improve their lives, Singapore must be able to give Singaporeans fulfilling jobs. At that time, I spoke about my belief that having meaningful work gives confidence to our people, not only to make a living, but also to feel included, and hence a sense of belonging and commitment. With the changes we have witnessed in the last 2 years and the momentum of change we continue to experience, I now realize that while jobs are important, it is more than jobs. It is about partnership and participation and working together that will make the difference for Singapore and Singaporeans. It is not just about the skills we develop or the jobs we attain or the place that we learn. It is about partnerships to bring it all together and the interaction amongst people of like and different backgrounds that matter. Initiatives such as the JTC Launchpad at One North or MAS's FinTech Regulatory Sandbox and the planned Punggol Digital District are platforms that provide the environment and the ecosystem to encourage people to come together and to build ties and create new opportunities. They provide platforms for engagement and they promote innovation. MES's use of the regulatory sandbox to encourage fintech experimentation has been instrumental in positioning Singapore in a short span of time as a major center for fintech innovation. Deloitte's report on the world's best cities in which to launch a fintech firm ranks Singapore as one of the best cities in the world for fintech. Criteria used included doing business, financial competitiveness, and innovation. Block 71 is another example of how the government can foster an ecosystem for innovation, and in this case, it's about bringing together a startup ecosystem. The JTC Launchpad at One North houses 750 startups, up from the 250 when it was first launched in 2011. This platform is now transplanted halfway across the world to San Francisco with the setting up of Block 71 San Francisco, as well as closer in the region in Indonesia with Block 71 Jakarta. This brings the Singapore brand abroad, and more importantly, it's enabling a network of Singaporeans, partners and startups to drive innovation. This participation is about the exchange of ideas, innovation and expertise. I'm not sure if many of you remember, but only about 8 years ago, Singapore was seen as dull and where you could not find any startups. Last year, the Global Startup Ecosystem Report by Startup Genome, a US-based organization, showed Singapore overtaking the Silicon Valley as #1 for startup talent, notwithstanding that Silicon Valley still remains #1 overall, and there are still areas for Singapore to improve. So while Skills Future remains an important underpinning in supporting Singaporeans in developing new and required skills, I believe that there's a need for people to also have a platform to engage and to learn from each other. The same way with examples like Block 71 and the FinTech Sandbox, that the government has effectively catalyzed and enabled the environment for startups and FinTech. I believe that together with government, academia and the private sector, there could be platforms to support the learning for people to come together in their learning journey. In the same way we have developed and will continue to develop segments and industry sectors, we can do the same for individuals. By having a platform for people to come together, it will be very powerful in supporting skills development beyond the formal learning and skills training. With the disruption and the gig economy going forward, it may not be just about getting a job, but possibly a few jobs with freelance work arrangements. It may not just be formal learning or certification of skills, but also learning coming from interaction and sharing of ideas. The whole idea transcends from business to even a social and community level. The key thread is participation. Participation in a supportive environment of individuals, regardless of background and experiences. The diversity and different perspectives will benefit all. Participation within such an ecosystem not only promotes learning, but builds confidence, resilience, trust, and allows one to be better able to seize opportunities. So as we start writing our next chapter, building on the power of our people, our shared experiences and networks, as PM Lee had said, I quote, "We have every reason to be confident and optimistic about our future." Mr. Speaker, I support the motion. Thank you.